Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going over this upper receiver that you see in my hand right now and that you saw throughout the intro. This one here is from APOC Armory, and if you guys follow me on Facebook, which I recommend everybody doing, you guys have seen me posting a bunch of deals for these uppers over the last probably 4, 5, 6 months. And after one of those posts, they actually reached out to me and said, hey, would you mind taking a look and doing a review on one of our uppers? And pretty soon here, when I get into the details of this thing, I'm pretty sure you're going to see why I agreed to do so. It has some really impressive specs for the price, and really that's why I wanted to take a look at it. So we got this one in, and right now I got about 800 rounds through it. What we're going to do here next is actually step back out to the range, do an accuracy test, see how this sucker performs with some slow fire, with some decent ammunition, and this guy behind the trigger. After that, we're going to come in and go into the details of it and sort of what makes it a pretty good value, at least in my opinion, in this marketplace. But first, we're going to let the dogs inspect it and make sure it's good to go.
We have a few different loads here for the accuracy test, different weights, different brands, all that stuff. Target is downrange at 100 yards. The setup that you see here is a worn scope mount. That's their new skeleton one. Definitely like it. Probably do a review on it eventually. Burris XTR2 1-8. Again, awesome scope and plenty of glass and magnification for what we're shooting here at 100 yards. But anyway, first up, I guess we'll take the Hornady 223. 75 grain boat tail hollow point. This is their super performance match, if I can talk. And I just want to mention that Mass Ammo sent this out to us because I don't have any contacts at Hornady, and people always want me to shoot their stuff. And Mass Ammo was kind enough to send us some of their stuff to use here on the channel. So I appreciate that, and there will be a link down in the video description. They have some pretty good deals from time to time. For those of you who watch my Facebook page, I already know that. So we'll see how this load shoots and get on to the next one. Alright. Next load will be something a little bit lighter. This is the Gorilla Ammunition 55 grain Sierra Blitzkrieg bullet. This one here is one that I've been using on the channel for a long time. Tends to be pretty consistently accurate in a ton of different barrels. So we'll see how this Cold Hammer Forged barrel likes it. Alright, one thing I should point out too is that we just have a basic mil-spec AR trigger in here, so nothing too fancy. And the last load up is going to be the heavy stuff. APOC 77 grain Match King hollow point boat tail. Let's go check them out. The groups looked a little better once I got down here than they even did in the scope, and I could see them through the scope. But first up, of course, we have the Hornady Super Performance stuff, 75 grain. And that one, center to center, we're right at 1 inch on that one. Came over here with the 55 grain Gorilla stuff, and looks like about the same. Just a touch more, 1.25 inches on that one. Then with the APOC 77 grain, once again, right at 1.25 inches. So with the mil-spec trigger, got ourselves the MLOK group, just trying out 3 different loads. I bet if you put a nicer trigger in there and actually worked a load up for it, it could shoot even better than that.
Getting into the details, we'll start out on the end and work our way back. It does ship with this 3-port muzzle brake that you guys see right here. It's made out of 4140 steel. It has the ports on top as well, of course, as the ports on the side, so that way it's going to keep the muzzle flat. It's also going to reduce the felt recoil impulse. I shot it a good bit with this on there. It does work. It's perfectly functional. You guys can see the copper buildup there from me using it. It does have a nitride finish as well, so it's going to be very corrosion resistant and stand up to wear very well. But I'm just not a huge muzzle brake guy, so I have the old A2 on there. It's just sort of my preference. I don't like the concussion, the flash, and the just the noise that comes out of muzzle brakes, but I know a lot of you guys do. So it does ship with it, but of course it is threaded, standard AR threads, so any muzzle device that you want to put on there or suppressor, you certainly can do so. Moving back to the barrel, it is a 16-inch mid-length 1-in-7 twist cold hammer forged barrel. It does have a government profile, which I know a lot of you guys out there certainly do like. It's a little bit thinner there under the handguard. Then as soon as we get to the gas block, it comes up to 0.75. We have a 0.75 low-profile gas block on there, and that gas block is made out of 4140 steel and nitrided. And you can see it continues the same thickness out front. You guys can see the stenciling there on the end, letting you guys know it is 5.56 chambered, so you can fire both 223 and 5.56 out of it. It does have an MOA guarantee, and as you guys saw from the accuracy that we put through it, it seems to do just fine in that regard. We only tested 3 loads, and one of them had 5-shot MOA group, so it stands up to the claim. And you guys can see there it is. It has the mid-length gas tube going all the way back. Now, one thing I want to point out is I disassembled this lower, or rather this upper today, right before shooting this review, just to sort of get an idea of how it was put together after firing a bunch of rounds through it. And one thing I noticed was the gas block itself did have some sort of high temperature thread locker on there. I'm assuming it's going to be red Loctite or Rockset or something like that. Heated it up and took it off. I noticed that the gas block itself on the barrel was not dimpled, so just pointing that out. However, it was very well put on there in terms of it wasn't going to move at all without a torch, which is what I had to take to it to get off. So pro and con there. The pro, of course, is that they're using really good thread locker on there, which is what you should do, but it wasn't dimpled, so just some food for thought there. The handguard on the upper is the Ergo 12-inch MLOK handguard. It's a very lightweight handguard. It has the MLOK slots at the 3, 6, and 9 o'clock positions there, as you guys can see. And then in the offset positions, it's lightened up, as you guys can see there as well. A lot of material taken out of there just to keep it nice and lightweight. And then up top, of course, we have a 1913 rail all the way down. It is not T-marked. However, the upper receiver is T-marked, as you guys can see there. One thing that I'm sure some of you OCD guys are going to kind of not like, I guess, is that there is a slight gap there between the upper and the handguard. It is properly installed. It's just something to point out. There is a little bit of a gap there just due to the design of the rail. A few other details on the upper receiver. It is made out of 7075 T6 aluminum. It does have a Type 3 hard anodizing, so mil-spec stuff there in that regard. And it does have the M4 feed ramps cut into there to match up with the M4 feed ramps in the barrel. Of course, we have our forward assist and dust cover on there. The bolt carrier group I went with was the nickel boron one that you guys see right here, but they do also offer one that has identical specs, but it has a melanite finish, so you can pick which one you want when you're going through the order process. Now I went with the nickel boron one, just sort of to try it out. Number one, it looks cooler on camera, but number two, the nickel boron does give it some added lubricity, which I do like. Melanite does as well, but it's very easy to clean and just wipes right off, with the exception pretty much of the tail there of the bolt. That's the only area that I've found with nickel boron bolt carrier groups that doesn't really wipe off. You do have to scrape it if you want to get it off. However, it's not really crucial to the function of the rifle either, so you can kind of just leave it as we have there and it'll continue to function just fine. Now, both the bolt carrier groups that APOC Armory offers are made by Toolcraft. Both of them have, like I said, very similar specs, so we'll sort of run down that real quick. Number one, we have the full auto profile on the carrier there. The bolt itself is made of 9310 steel. It is MPI and HP tested individually, which certainly is nice. Now, the carrier itself is 8620, so standard mil-spec stuff there, with a 4130 tool steel gas key. The hardware there is not the YFS stuff that you see on some of the budget stuff. It's proper, grade 8 hardware, and it is staked very well there as well, as you can see. The firing pin there is made of 8740. It has a hard chrome finish, so mil-spec in that regard. Of course, made in the USA by Toolcraft, like we mentioned. And on the extractor here, it does have the black O-ring in there. Earlier when I was going over the barrel specs, I think I neglected a couple points. So number one, it is made out of 4150 CMB steel. It is the mil spec variety, so 11955 or whatever it is. And it is individually MP and HP tested. So for those who are new to barrels, basically what they do is they fire a proof load through it. That is the HP process. And then after that, they MP inspect it with a magnetic particle inspector to make sure that there's no microfractures anywhere that you can't see with the naked eye, and make sure that the barrel material is still strong and ready to go out of the box. So that is good in terms of processes. A lot of the budget barrels out there don't have that, or if they do, it's batch tested, not individual tested. This one here, individual tested on each one. So that's certainly a pretty good thing. Of course, we had the nitride finish for good corrosion resistance, good barrel life, and cold tamper forged barrels, generally speaking, give a very long barrel life. Most of us will probably never need it, but it's very nice to know that it's there should you ever need it and you want to put a lot of rounds through it. Don't expect any issues with it at all. So all in all, this thing, I believe the upper receiver with no bolt carrier group and charging handle right now is coming in at $379 shipped. And then if you add a bolt carrier group, I think, which again comes with the charging handle as well, I think it's like $479 shipped. So that's a very good value. If you look at the specs of what you get here with this upper receiver, both in the barrel, handguard, and bolt carrier group, seems to be very high quality components, and it's performed as such. We've had a grand total of 0 issues with it, reliability, feeding wise, and you guys saw the accuracy there was pretty good as well. So really, at this point, I'd have to say, for the money, it's a very good value. If you guys are looking for something with cold hammer forged barrel that's not, you know, super expensive like some of the other offerings out there, I'd take a look at it. They seem to shoot really well, and they have a bunch of other offerings as well. We'll put links down below for you guys who want to check this out, but that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions about the upper receiver group, you can always post down below in the comment section. You can also post those questions over at my Facebook page. As always, that's generally speaking the best way to get in touch with me. I tend to see the stuff over there much more than I do here on YouTube or Full 30 or anywhere else. But that's it. We'll wrap it up with that. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing, and I hope to see all of you in the next video.